that computer savvy. Huh? Anyhow, so we would also like to see whether what would be the nature of shear stresses and all those things. But though we won't see its effect on the stresses, we don't want to see because that will be much complicated. It will be higher. You are in fourth year or something. It will be taught to you. Okay. Now let us see what would be the shear stresses due to bending actually. Uh, while deriving the relation between stresses due to applied bending moment, which we said it is constant throughout the length, we what we did was we attacked the problem by assuming the strain distribution. We made some assumptions. So we knew that strains vary over the depth linearly, and based on that we calculated the bending stresses using Hooke's law, isn't it? We initially find out what was the equation for strain variation, that is y by r. Then we multiplied by Young's modulus and say that this is the stress. This is the stress in the case of symmetric bending, and this is the stress in the case of unsymmetric bending. It was very easy to derive. But in the case of shear stresses, we do not have that luxury. We do not know how the shear strains vary actually. Still, they are speculating that it is cubic, that is the fifth order, so many things they are assuming. So, we do not go into all those details. We do not make any assumptions regarding the shear strain distribution. We will, by considering the equilibrium, we will calculate the shear stresses. So we will solve one example, then we can go to unsymmetrical bending, solid cross section and thin walled open cross section. What are the shear stresses we will calculate. And finally, I will introduce a notion called shear center. Okay. So now let's say we will consider a rectangular simply supported beam, prismatic. We will assume that the applied load, that is not exactly uniform because Q is also uniformly distributed load, but it is a function of X actually. In the sense, from point to point, the applied uniformly distributed load will vary actually. So, okay. Now, let's say this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and we take two planes, and between them we consider a very small distance dx. If the whole beam is in equilibrium, we know that any part of the beam is also in equilibrium. So if you consider this small part dx, this also should be in equilibrium, isn't it? So that is what Newton's law says. If the whole beam is in equilibrium, then any part of the beam should also be in equilibrium. Otherwise, nothing makes sense. So naturally, we take a small portion AB and blow it up and see how the equilibrium forces will vary. Now also you observe that since Q of x varies, this M is also not constant, M is also varies. Okay, I think we will draw, if it is uniformly distributed load, let's say, okay, we will introduce rather than drawing here. New slide. Let's say. Oh, what happened? Now, what we will do is, let's say simply supported beam, it is subjected to uniformly distributed. That is Q. Q is not a function of x. So naturally this is length is L. If you draw bending moment diagram, then this will be parabolic. This we have seen. What would be its ordinate at the center? Anybody?
Sir, QLS square by 8.
QL square by 8. Very good. So QL square by 8. But now my Q of x in the second problem, sorry, this is also uniformly distributed load, but my Q is a function of x. Okay. Now my bending moment I will draw because there is no space, or is there a space? I don't know. No, there is no space. I will draw in small portion. Your sorry. Your bending moment also varies from section to section. Anyway. Okay, I don't know what is the bending moment here, what is the bending moment here, and such things. So the bending moment, that is if it is x and this is y, the bending moment is z, mz. That also is a function of mz is a function of x. Okay, now what I do is, what is happening? There is no space. Anyhow, let us take this small portion dx, this small portion, and we will consider the equilibrium of this small portion, and we will see what will happen. This small portion,
So,
yes.
so the bending moment is a function of x also and z also.
Z it won't be, na?
Okay, it is only in the z direction. It's not a function of z.
Yeah. It is mz. It is the bending moment acts about z,
Okay, sir.
but it is a function of x. As you move along x direction, it is a function of x. But mz means that it is a function of, it is calculated about z axis at that location.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and that is a convention because you see, I don't know, you see the bending moment, you should always remember that it doesn't act about a point, it acts about a axis actually. Let's say this is x, this is y, and if this is z, and let's say our bending moment is, I put two arrows, two arrows, and if you have right-handed thumb rule you follow, the bending moment is this, and this direction.
Excuse me, sir, your voice is too low. May you please?
Oh, I think I have moved away from the mic. I think that's the reason. Now, can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me see whether my settings are all right. Maybe you are correct. This has come down. Now, I think, let me, can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Now, let's say bending moment is about, if you take any section, your MZ here will be different because my applied load is different. MZ denotes only that it acts about Z axis. That's the only reason I am put a subscript Z, but it is a function of X. Okay. Now we consider a small, because the whole beam is in equilibrium, because you will have vertical forces corresponding to this. Let's say this side is RA and this side is RB. RA plus RB is equal to QX into L. So that way it is all right. So, but if I know how Q of X varies, then I can find out what is RA and RB. Now, you know positive direction of shear forces. Positive direction of shear forces. I think we are all following one sign convention. If you cut at any point along the beam, the positive direction is this way. That means on the left side, it is top is plus, and right side it is bottom is negative. So this this is the sign convention. For bending moment, you take this as the sign convention. This is usually sign convention we assume as engineers. Somebody says, why not you take the other way around, shear force as positive? I don't have any answer. You can choose that also.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this element is in equilibrium. Then why you have shown that at one end bending moment is mz and other end bending moment is mz plus dmz upon dx into dx?
So
This should be.
no. There is a Q of X is also there. If the bending moment is and shear force also varies, and there is a top Q of X, I will show that because of equilibrium, what will happen, we will see. Then we will discuss. Because
Okay,
if
sir.
Q of X varies, let's say if you draw bending moment diagram, like in the previous diagram, if you consider any section, whether the bending moment here and here are the same.
No, sir.
But still the beam is in equilibrium. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
What happened? Why it is not responding? PowerPoint? Oh God, it must be big. Okay. Now let us say sigma Fi is equal to 0. We will take plus Fi direction, positive direction as downward because my Y direction is downward. So let me take this. sigma Fy is equal to 0, then I will have Vy plus dy by dx minus Vy plus q of x into dx. You see, they do not match, you are complaining, but I am also adding this q of x. Okay, so dy by dx is equal to minus x. That means the variation of shear force is equal to the negative of the applied load at that point. This all depends upon the axis system you choose. You see, somebody says I will choose this as negative. You are perfectly legitimate, you can go ahead. But all of you use the same sign system, that will be easier for us to check also. Huh? But there is no hard and fast rule that one should assume this as positive. But as civil engineers and other engineers, the design is taken, this is known as the sagging moment. Sagging moment is taken as positive. Okay, that is bottom tension is usually taken as positive. Throughout the world, it is the convention they adopt. If you say that I adopt some other convention, nobody can stop you because you are perfectly all right. But you see, you are the only guy who will be taking a different sign convention. So it will be better if you take the same sign convention. Huh? But I leave it to you, because tomorrow you can come and argue, then I don't have any answer for you. Okay. Now we will take this as a positive bending moment. I will take about O. Okay. Now whether this will be in equilibrium or not, you just check. If it is not in equilibrium, then you will have problem. So mz plus dmz by dx into dx minus mz, then this qx into dx by 2, because you will have minus, no, into dx. There is one more dx is there, that is missing, I think, here.
So why you have written qx into dx by 2?
Wait a minute, I'll tell you. Huh? Okay. Qx into dx is the total force acting. The lever arm about O is dx by 2. The total force acting here is how much? Qx into dx.
Yes, sir.
Sanskriti.
Yes, sir, it's qx into dx.
Then that lever arm, the resultant is acting, because dx is so small, I can take resultant at the center.
Okay, sir.
So that is what I have done. That one more dx was missing. That's why it was leading to some trouble. Huh? Then Vy into dx about this point. But it is in the negative direction, so I have put a minus Vy into dx. That means dmz by dx is equal to shear force Vy. Okay. That means the variation of bending moment will give you the shear force at that point. And yes.
So why qx into dx by 2 get 0, sir?
Qx into dx is what? Total applied load.
Yes, sir.
Now I will assume, since dx is very small, the lever arm I will assume at the center. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Or if you don't want, you make dx by 3 or dx by 4 or dx It doesn't matter actually what you take, where the resultant is appearing, whether it's slightly left or slightly right, it doesn't matter, because you see I will cancel mz. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then we will write one more step, then it will be very clear to you whether dx by 2 doesn't matter actually. In the
Yes,
sense,
sir. Actually, I'm asking, sir, why this term gets 0? This qx into dx by 2 just
that's
gets.
what we will just do some exercise and see for ourselves why it becomes 0.
Okay, sir.
So I think it is being neglected because of higher order of dx
No,
square.
don't worry, we will do it. dmz by dx into dx plus q of x into dx by 2 minus vy into dx equal to 0. So I will divide by dx, so this dx will go. So dmz by dx plus qx into dx by 2 minus vy equal to 0. This dx is very arbitrary. Okay. I can take two planes at any distance apart. Two cross section any distance apart. Let's say I will tend dx to 0. In the sense, very small value, let us say. Dx can be anything, isn't it? If the whole beam is in equilibrium, any part of the beam is in equilibrium, any part means I don't say that it is 1 centimeter, it is half a centimeter or anything. We don't give a value to dx. It is actually dx means it is a very small value. Now qx into dx, as limit dx tends to 0, this will vanish, na?
Yes, sir.
So that's why I am neglected. Of course, if your dx is appreciable, then you can't neglect. But dx by its definition, it is not very small. When you find out dy by dx, what do? You consider 2 points on a curve. Let's say P and then Q, and let's say this dy by dx. Actually, it is delta y by delta x. Now, what we do is add Q moves to P. That is, in the limit as delta x tends to 0, this will become dy by dx. That's what you do, isn't it? So similarly, I can make this dx as small as possible. Then I don't have any meaning for this, because it is a very small quantity of maybe of magnitude epsilon. So I can neglect that. That is what I have neglected. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So we have neglected that I have not written here. So it is from here directly, it looks like odd, but the variation of bending moment at any point will be equal to shear force at that point. Now the same thing, this has been written because q of x looks to be varying, then this is what? Now bending stress distribution is given by what? M over Iz into Y. So this is the bending stress distribution. It is triangular nature at 0 at the neutral axis, and again the below it is tension, above it is compression. So all these things you see, this is compression, this is tension. So this is what is done. Now okay, it is there. So before coming to this picture, let me come to this picture. Now this is what the dx distance you have taken the beam. Now to make it more clear, I have considered this diagram. Let's say bending moment varies like this, bending stress varies like this, and what will happen is bending stress, because bending moment varies, bending stress will be, I can write this side, it is sigma xx d sigma xx by dx into dx, and this side it is sigma. So over the depth it varies at different points, the values will be different. So but now let me take a very small strip of dy at a distance y from the neutral axis. You see, I have taken this strip, mm, the strip depth is delta dy. Now on this side we have sigma xx plus d sigma xx into dx into dx. This side it is sigma xx. Now let us say is there any another explanation for here you see. Okay, anyhow, first we'll come to this. So this side you will have shear bending stresses if you integrate over the area. Area means, because it is a three-dimensional figure, so naturally if you take small area here, actually these shear bending stresses are acting on this area actually. We'll use some other diagram. See this one. So it will be acting like this. So similarly it will be acting like this. Okay, now this is sigma xx. Let's say this width is something like called b, and you know the depth is delta y or dy. So naturally I can find out integrating over this area what is the width of the beam. If I know b, I can find out what is the resultant force. The resultant force will be FB, and this side it is FA. We know that FB is greater than FA. So naturally for equilibrium there should be some force, horizontal force, which usually you call it by shear force. So what is the effect of horizontal force? That horizontal force is a resultant of, if you divide by area, then you will get stress. That stress you call it as shear stress. Because, yes, The shear stresses can't exist alone. There will be complementary shear stress on the face of weight. Now, this is if you call sigma yx, because it is in the direction of x, perpendicular to the y-axis. So this is sigma yx and this is sigma xy. But you all know that sigma xy is equal to sigma yx. Now V, whatever we have drawn here, V,
Sir,
yes.
so why is FB greater than FA?
Which one? FB only I have written.
Why is FB greater than FA?
Because you have more stress here, na? The area is the same.
Okay, sir.
So this is sigma xx. This is sigma xx plus d sigma xx by dx into dx. So the area is what? B into dy. This is breadth and the depth is dy. This cross-sectional area is B into dy. That is common for both, but the stress values are different. It may be different by 1% or it may be different by 2%. Doesn't matter. But nevertheless, theoretically, FB is greater than FA. To balance that FA in equilibrium, because this is greater than, then it will start move like this. But we see that the beams don't move like that. Part of the beam will start moving right or left or something like that. So naturally you will have some horizontal force to balance that. It should be there. So that horizontal force will be equal to FB minus FA. Now, what is FB, the sigma xy? That FB will be equal to integral EFGH. This is EF. I think I have drawn it to a very small scale, I think. I hope you can see this. EFGH. So this is the area. So area EFGH multiplied by, here you will have stresses, bending stresses, sigma xx plus d sigma xx dx into dA. Similarly, area sigma xy is equal to dA. Now here I can write this whole bending stress as in terms of bending moment, mz plus dmz by dx into dx yda divided by iz integral minus integral mz izz by ya by da. That is, I have applied here that bending equation. Okay. Is there here? Okay. Area EFGH is equal to area ABCD because they are, if you look at it, it is the same B and depth is dy. So naturally both the area are same. Then V will be equal to dmz by dx into izz into dA. Then we will have yda, the dx we will keep it outside because that is not a function of area. So what is this EFGH yda? We call it as qz. All of you know that it is the first moment of area of EFGH around neutral axis. Okay. Now, if I substitute V is equal to Vy into Qz into dx, you see V is equal to what we got? Vy into yda, we have put Qz, integral yda as Qz multiplied by dx. So then V will be equal to sigma xy multiplied by area B into dx. So because you see there here dx I have to multiply, dx multiplied by B. So sigma yx will be acting on this. So see b dx, this will be equal to vy into q by izz, I dx if I cancel, sigma xy will be equal to sigma xy will be equal to vy into q by izz into b. This is the shear stress equation. Okay, the same thing we have also derived in this, because I thought there are some portions you will get confused. Then this is the neutral plane. This is what dy we have considered delta x, and this is the distance from the neutral plane. Then here also we have considered. Then we will consider first moment of area about z-axis. So all those things we have done, but I have done it in a elaborate way. Okay. So now, if you know, I think I can solve some problems, but shall we solve, or shall I leave it, or so that you can understand what we have derived?
Solve, sir.
Yes,
Sir, please solve one problem as an example.
I can solve, na? You don't
Yes,
mind?
sir.
Okay. The very simple one I will derive. I hope you will understand it very easily. I think, what shall I solve? I think we will solve for a rectangular beam. I think here everything is there, or okay. Very all things may not be there. We will derive from the beginning. What is the distribution of shear stress in a rectangular beam over the depth? We will see that. Okay. But it doesn't look like rectangular, then you should not curse me. Huh? Still, it doesn't look like this. Anyway, this is Z and this is Y. Let's say the width of the beam is B, and this is at the CG is at the middle, so this is H by 2, and this is H by 2. Okay, up to this we are fine. Now again I will draw the same thing. Now we will say that the neutral axis is at here. See, this is the beam made up of rectangular cross section. What we are trying to find out is how is the shear stress varies over the depth. I know how the bending stress varies over the depth. Here we are trying to find out how the shear stresses varies over the depth. That is what we are trying to find out. So at least the problem should be clear. Now let us say we will consider let's say at a depth y from the neutral axis, what is the shear? Y. Okay. What is the shear stress at this level I want to find? Let's say how to find out, then if I know what is the shear stress at this level, and then I can find out everything everywhere. Now from the neutral axis, this distance, because we know that this is h by 2, neutral axis passes through CG, so this is h by 2. Okay. Now this will be h by 2 minus y. Now, if you consider only this area, then my CG is somewhere at the center. Going. I think something is wrong. Huh? This is y, this is h. What is happening is that all of a sudden it started going. The neutral axis is at a distance.
So you are not audible.
Okay, CG is somewhere here. So
And still your voice is low, if possible.
I don't know. I have made it 100%. Now it is audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because still up to now I was doing only construction, so it is all right. Now the width is B. Now again CG location, and so I will have some problem with the CG location. I want to find out stresses at this level, shear stresses at this level, let us say. That is my problem. Now to do that, oh, time is running out. Let's say we will locate the neutral axis somewhere here. Thank God it didn't go. Hope so, it won't go. This is h by 2 minus y. Now this distance, I don't know, this will y plus half of h by 2 minus y. Since it is rectangular, it is at the middle height. It's CG of this area, only this area. I don't know whether it will, if I hatch it, it will be all right or not, because it may go again. Okay, the CG of this area is at the center of this height, that is h by 2 minus y. So from the distance from the distance of this area CG from the neutral axis is y plus half h by 2 minus y. Now let us consider the first moment of area we will calculate. I think I will stop here. I will again redo this problem. I think it is taking, I think it is your only 1 hour we have. I shouldn't trouble other teachers. So let us do one thing. I will stop today. We will continue on Monday. Monday I will be taking the class. Is that okay? You are all staying in the your home only, na?
Sir, Durga Puja. I think many people
Somebody has already told me that it is Durga Puja that you should not take. But you are all staying in the home only. If you can't attend, it is fine for me. Anyhow, you will get the recorded video will be available in this one, and you can file that. If you go to the folder, then the recorded video will be made available to you, so you can download it.
if possible, make it off, because other profs are also not taking classes on that day.
You see, we are having very short. This solid mechanics is in the sense it's a very big subject. This time we are getting very less time, you know. If you help me, then only we can, you see, otherwise, you see, even solving a rectangular beam, shear distribution over the depth is taking time. Now imagine then I have to do for unsymmetric bending, how the shear stresses are distributed, all those things, isn't it? So it will take quite some time. And solving and then I have to calculate shear center for unsymmetric this one, and shear center for thin walled sections. Then all those things I have to solve example problems also now. So it will take time.
Okay, sir.
You see, all of you are staying with your parents only. So in case if you are there in front of the computer, please attend, because without attending it will be difficult for you to follow solid mechanics. It is like mechanics. So the second thing is okay, we will stop recording. There is no point in recording.